Hey there, BJ O'Neill here with Business Coach Mastery. I want to share with you an overall coaching framework. Maybe you're already coaching with us on our team. Maybe you're considering joining the team, but you're starting to figure out or ask the question and think through, how do I want to coach? Where do I want to spend my time building relationships? Like what that process going to look like? How's this whole thing going to work? And so I see a mistake that coaches make is that they move into the activity that they're going to do related to lead generation, but they haven't thought about the big picture. And that's what you want that's what you want to address. Now, if you are on a coaching team, we have a full-blown coaching guide, a business plan, if you will, that addresses this. And if you're considering coaching, this idea, this framework, this thought, I believe will help you kind of answer, or at least that you need to understand the basis of the overall picture, which I'm going to explain. I like to call it a coaching framework, okay? Now, so it's not enough to just be able to say, hey, what's the best strategies for meeting new people or getting connected or talking and sharing with the people that I already know and so on. Like those things clearly matter, but there's something that matters more important than that. And it's the principle that you're probably already familiar with, and that starts with beginning with the end in mind. Okay? So we have to kind of think through. And it doesn't mean that you have to know exactly what you're going to do a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. But ideally, you probably have, at least for to some degree, you have an idea of what you want to achieve. Meaning, coaching is one of those things where provides us flexibility to truly live life on our terms. And to do that, it's the framework and it's the income that it provides. And it doesn't mean it's all about money. But as you know, if you're going to build a legitimate coaching business, you got to earn income, right? And that's where we start. So we first have to really kind of address the question, well, what is it that I'm looking for this? We'll call it either a revenue stream. If you own a business right now and you still have that business and you're working in the business, maybe you still have a W-2 job and you still have that 9 to 5 and you still have that 40 plus hours a week that you're going to spend there. That's going to influence what you want to earn. I mean, you may say, well, my goal is to be able to do this full time. Understood. But the framework that I'm going to give you is going to work no matter where you are. You own a business, you work in a W-2, or you can do this full time right now, or that's your plan to do that in the next 6 to 12 months. So for context, you can plug in your own number as we go through this process, but I'm just going to use just basic averages. I have a calculator here too, just to make sure that we say the right thing. But it first starts with, what kind of income do I want to see annually out of coaching? Again, this number is going to change. That's okay. I'm going to watch where I'm stepping because I have a 3-month-old puppy underneath my feet who's decided to get literally right underneath me at the worst time. But that's okay. We're going to make it work. So the first thing is, let's just say for context. Now, I like to use round math because it's easy to do that, especially in a training video. And so I like to use this number right here. Let's say that you want to earn $120,000 a year. Your number could be very different, higher, lower, or much higher, or much lower. It doesn't matter. Just follow along with the process. All right, so $120,000 for the year. That starts to help us to understand that's kind of true north, at least for now. The second thing comes into play is, what do I believe that on average that I'm going to charge to get a client? Again, these numbers may shift around from time to time, but again, for planning purposes, we're going to say, because the average is $2,000 per month per one-on-one client. That's not just an industry standard. It does range between $1,000 and $5,000. We have coaches that won't drop down underneath $5,000. Brand new coaches sometimes start closer to the $1,000 as they get more experience. They increase their rates. All right. So $2,000. Now we start to understand, because you can't answer the lead generation question, in my opinion, without answering first, well, how many clients do I actually need to start with to actually achieve my goals? That's how you get into, where do I start? All right. And so this suggests, if you can do any kind of math, you probably can. We know what this number is. It's 5. So 5 people, 5 clients over a perceived amount of time, 3 months, 6 months, a year, will drive that number right there. Now, when you look at that 5, we sit there and say, okay, that seems fairly simple to get 5 clients. Well, that's in the eye of the beholder. Whether it's simple, hard, doesn't matter. At least it begins to help us address and understand exactly what we need. Okay, so let me erase this. We know we now have the need for 5. That's what we're looking for. Now, it's not that we're just only going to go talk to 5 people. We want to be realistic to understand that I'm going to get connected to this person, this person, this person, this person, but not everybody's going to be interested in talking to me. So we want to utilize in the very beginning the law of 30%. It's just a standard number to use to kind of help shape your path. What does that mean? That simply means that for everybody that we're talking to, we're just going to say, if we're going to put them through, in our case, an assessment tool to make an invitation to become a client, that we're going to say it's 30% of them, okay? So if I need to do 5, I believe, if I'm right, let me make sure that my numbers are correct here, and they are, I'm going to have to make 17, little man, you got the move, I'm going to need to make 17 assessments, essentially 17 requests to engage in a business relationship, okay? So we have 17. That's the number that we're going for. See how this is starting to pan out? Now we're starting to see, all right, if I could only close 30% of the ones that I'm talking to, and that's it. If that's all that I could do, 30%. Now we want to get better than that. We want to get to a north of 50%. But as we're first starting out, and a great place to plan is 30%. If you get underneath 30%, usually there's an issue, there's something wrong. Got to figure out what that is. We want to give 50%. Experienced coaches are well in the 60% and higher range. We want to start out for planning for purposes for 30%. That's 17 in this case. Again, you can adjust the numbers to do the very same thing. Let's go one step further. Those that you're engaging with, doesn't matter where you're engaging with them at the moment, you're not going to just talk to 17 people and all 17 people are going to be interested in going through a business assessment. We call ours the 100K Challenge. It's a cool, really fun assessment tool where we're showing business owners how to find small incremental percentage adjustments through multiple strategies. That's why we call it for us the 100K Challenge. It's just an assessment tool setting the tone for the coaching journey of how we're going to help them step by step to implement strategies to accelerate their profits and their revenues. But you're not just going to start out in being able to just talk to any 17 people, get my words out. Yeah, 17 people, and all of them are going to be interested in taking this assessment. So there's going to be multiple conversations that lead you to the 17, all right? So if you really want to plan well, you want to get to that number and go, well, if I could only get 30% of the people that I talk to go to the assessment, all right, what would that number look like? And I just lost power for a hot second. Let me see if I can. I think we're back on track here. There's nothing like little power glitches in the middle of a snowstorm to mess with your recording. And so, if you're still with me here, we're saying that I need to present 17 if I can only convert 30%. Well, what if the only 30% of those that I talk to want to even take the assessment? It's around this number. I did this earlier. I'm not that good at math and doing it in my head. I'm a calculator guy. However, in this case, I'm going to need to talk to 58 people if I only converted 30% of them to go to my assessment to land 30% of them to get to my 5 clients. All right. Now, if you have sales experience, this is nothing new to you. This is just called KPIs, Key Performance Indicators. Again, we want to get better at 50% here. We want to get better at 50% there. But just starting out, this is a solid, realistic number. If you want to make 120 grand a year and you're going to charge 2,000, you want 5 clients and you can do that in the next 6 to 8 months, you need to make an invitation to 58 people to take an assessment, to get this 17 of them to say, to 17 of them to get 5 of them to say, yes, I need your help. All right? It's math, not magic. But now you know. If that's the number that we're chasing, that begins to influence exactly what we're going to do in terms of building solid relationships in the lead generation phase, adding value, and building rapport to make the invitation to get to here. Hope this is making sense to you. Okay? So in the second video, and this will be a succession just to break it up, I'm going to get into the ones that are the best to get to this number, because that changes things. If this number is higher or lower, this influences what you need to do. All right? We'll have more about that on part 2.